Okay, and action. And you can look, why don't you look right here to my shoulder here.
All right.
So name, who you are, and how you got involved in the paranormal. Or what you do with the paranormal. Cool. And action.
My name is Aaron Sagers. I'm an entertainment journalist, and I am also the founder of ParanormalPopCulture.com, a website that explores the entertainment genre as it applies to the paranormal. And I got into the paranormal by being a mainstream journalist for years, and noticed that there was a genre that was just exploding, and it was something that I was actually always loved ghost movies and monster movies and everything, and decided to start a website that focused on the entertainment aspect of the paranormal.
So does that mean you follow paranormal as it manifests in television and movies, basically?
What it means when I say I follow the paranormal is that I explore the movies, TV shows, books, comic books, internet trends, video games, as it relates to all things unexplained, all things paranormal. So that's from ghosts to aliens to monsters to zombies to psychic phenomena.
And you say you started off as a writer, a true journalist, quote unquote, with mainstream subjects. What got you towards the paranormal? Was it a personal experience or what?
Ever since I was a kid, I always loved the idea of the paranormal. I always read ghost stories and UFO encounters, and always was a big fan of those Time Life books that were mystery of the unexplained type books. So I was always interested in it as a kid. Professionally, what got me into it was I didn't see anyone else really talking about the entertainment component and entertainment genre and niche of the paranormal, and I thought, as someone that is an entertainment journalist for the mainstream, but also someone that truly loves this stuff, I could put a spotlight on it and have open a discourse about it in ways that no one else was.
Sort of an Ain't It Cool Rotten Tomatoes for paranormal, in a way.
I would like to say that, yes, it's like an Ain't It Cool Rotten Tomatoes Entertainment Weekly for the paranormal. We explore the entertainment of the unexplained.
Do you know Dan Sneerson?
I do, yeah.
Cool. I was, his sister and I were roommates with a bunch of other people in LA. Random fact.
That's awesome.
So anyway, okay. So my question to you, Ouija boards. Of all the subjects, I'm a filmmaker trying to make a film with Bob, who doesn't play it, who doesn't think there's anything spiritual about it. I think there is. I think it's very, very powerful. I think it's a tool for, people that know what they're doing. But I'm looking for opinions of other people. What's your personal opinion on the Ouija boards, talking board phenomenon? What do you think it's all about?
When it comes to the Ouija board, the talking board, the spirit board, I approach it in somewhat of a unique way because I was raised Catholic, and within the Catholic faith, my parents always warned me about Ouija boards, that if I was ever going to a party, like a slumber party or overnight party or whatever, and somebody broke out the Ouija board, that was not something you were meant to play with, which made it kind of scary, but also created this sort of taboo component, sort of like drinking and drugs. Drinking, drugs, and Ouija boards, are the things that you stay away from at parties. And also I remember watching movies where, as a child of the 80s, the Ouija board was this device that opened up a gateway to hell and, unleashed all sorts of, infernal creatures. And that was kind of scary stuff. But as I get older, I am fascinated by the Ouija board. I'm fascinated by it because I don't necessarily view it with the same kind of spiritual taboo that I was raised to have towards it. That doesn't mean I'm breaking down and playing with it a lot, but I'm not as freaked out by it. And is it paranormal? Is it not? Is it just a piece of cardboard, or does it actually have some sort of mystical spiritual properties? I don't know, and depending on the day, I might have different opinions on it. And the best working theory I have is that I'm a skeptic, but I'm also sort of a big believer, like a skeptical believer. And the best theory I have with the Ouija board is that if you're looking for something really hard and you really want it to be some conduit to a spiritual world, maybe if you want it enough, you can kind of create that, or at least create that connection in your mind. But I don't think just on its own that it is, anything more than a board with printing on it and a plastic planchette.
So it's marketed 8 and up at Toys R Us. Do you think that's appropriate, or do you think that it's a tool for professional psychic paranormal people?
I mean, it cracks me up when within the paranormal community, people have very definite ideas about the Ouija board. And some people look at it as, yes, only adults and professionals, quote unquote, professional paranormalists should be able to use this. And I find that kind of silly because this used to be a thing that was just kept in homes as like a device that you played with, like with when your friends came over. And so I don't necessarily think it's a problem that it's marketed to younger kids. I think there's a lot of things that are marketed to kids that, parents should be involved with when their kids use it, whether it's certain video games or sporting equipment,
Certainly.
So that's sort of my take on it.
And yeah, and that's a fair answer. Mike, just to follow up on that, do you think that the Ouija board can be a conduit to the other side in that there are negative entities there? In other words, what's your belief system as to the paranormal? Do you think there's entities? Can you get them through invitation, divination, all these other methods, or are you still skeptical on that end?
When it comes to actual paranormal, I am a skeptical believer. I believe that there are things out there we have not explained, but I really have a hard time walking into a supposed haunted house and just automatically believing it's haunted just because it has that label. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the Ouija board and the paranormal, do I think it can be a conduit to the other side or unleash negative entities? I mean, I guess I don't know. I mean, I can't say 100% certainty on either side. I tend to think that, look, if you're looking for trouble in any situation, you can find trouble, Mm-hmm. And if you want to have a mystical experience, I don't need a Ouija board to do it. I mean, I can, if I am so dead set on seeing, a shape in the clouds, I am going to look hard enough until I see that, until I have that connection. So am I faking that? When I see that in the clouds, am I faking it? Or am I causing it to manifest? I don't know. But I don't think the Ouija board is automatically a conduit to the other side or automatically anything more than a cardboard, toy. But if you want it to be and you focus enough of your own, attention on it and your own energy on it, then who knows? Who knows what it could become?
What's your level of experience? You played it once, twice, 100 times, and anything crazy happen when you did?
I have not played with the Ouija board multiple times. I've played with it a few times throughout my entire life, and I think it's, again, back to sort of that Catholic upbringing of having that scary taboo with it. My experience when I have played with it has not been groundbreaking or anything freaky or anything even especially noteworthy. I don't feel like I ever, connected to anything or, nothing ever happened with me.
Well, are you going to take part in the experiment tonight? I mean, will you be there or no?
Yeah, I'll likely take part in the experiment.
Good, because you seem like the perfect person too, in that they've experienced it, but you haven't had anything that makes you question if it is. And I'm not saying anything's going to happen tonight, but I think it would be great, if more people like you were there and maybe something happened to challenge that. Because even though I think it's paranormal, I think it might be idea motor. There might be no. I totally admit I might be wrong. I just had an experience that was so freaky and beyond explanation that I'm stumped 20 years later as to what it could have been. So,
but that's also the paranormal in of itself. That when it comes down to the paranormal, the people that believe in it tend to have had an experience or have some sort of compelling reason to believe in it, to believe that there's something more than this.
But you don't.
I don't discount it. I'm a skeptical believer. I believe that there is more out there than we can explain, but I don't claim to know the answers, and I don't claim to say this is a ghost,
Right.
this is an alien, or what, because I don't know.
And you never had that experience that you speak of, like I did, which is fine.
Ouija board?
Yeah, like or with anything supernatural or paranormal, or did you?
I've had experiences that I cannot explain. I have had experiences that have left me freaked out.
Like anything that you can soundbite, like an example, like a ghost sighting or something, or
Most of my feelings is that no, not really. Like I've had stuff that just sort of that amorphous kind of, feeling. I am not the guy that walks into a room and sees a full-bodied apparition, shouting boo, or I'm not a person that communicates with spirits. So I've had some weird experiences, but nothing that exciting compared to some other people out there.
and nothing that got you involved in this. It was your own curiosity that got you involved in general, intellectually.
Curiosity and again, as a skeptical believer, as someone that thinks there might be more out there, and has had those weird feelings, I look. My nature is to go poking around in areas where I don't understand and to try out crazy stuff. That may involve rock climbing or jumping out of a plane or going into a haunted house. I mean, really, the coolest part about being involved in the paranormal for me is that part of my job is going around across the country to explore these very cool locations with a lot of history and a lot of stories. Like, I always connect to the stories of a place, not necessarily ghost stories, but the history and the stories.
And there's great history with the Ouija board.
Yeah, there's a lot of great history with the Ouija board. I find the Ouija board to be a fascinating item within popular culture because everybody has an opinion on it. And the Ouija board is sort of this, for something so simple, it has such connotations for people and it carries such weight with people. And it is something that has been